10 reasons why fix and flippers lose money. Fix and flips are simple, but they're not easy. You buy a broken down house, you fix it up, you sell it for a profit. Seems really simple, right? But when you break those steps down, it can get a little complicated and it can get a little frustrating, and it can even cause you to ruin the deal altogether, taking something you could have made money on to where you're maybe not, or even losing some money. So what are these common pitfalls and how can you avoid them? Let's talk. One of the things I see happen quite frequently, time and time again, is overestimating the after repaired value of the property. Basically, what is the property going to sell for? I've seen this so many times because there's some wishful thinking that's in there, where they're not looking at busy streets, or they're not looking at crime, or they're not looking at railroads or schools or those types of things. So you've got to be very careful that you understand what your natural boundaries are and what you should be using and can be using as good comparables. So you've got to be a detective with this. You've got to make sure that you don't overlook anything. One of the best things you can do is get some help in doing this to make sure you're not having biasness towards this property just because you want to make the deal happen. But overestimating the after repaired value is the number one thing I see time and time again. The second thing I see is underestimating the rehab. May come in and say, hey, we think it's $30,000, and then it's really going to cost $80,000 to get the work done. You don't want to be underestimating the repairs, because guess what? If you need more money for repairs and your lender's giving you some, you're going to have to bring that out of pocket. And if you don't have money out of pocket, then you're going to find yourself in a horrible predicament, which we don't want you in. Number 3, choosing the cheapest contractor. This is basically saying, I'm going to go with the cheapest guy that's possibly out there. Well, one of the strategies that contractors use is what's called change forms. So they're going to come and say, well, we need to change this, and this is going to be more money. You're going to have to come with more cash. That is a problem. And as we're talking about contractors, going after TV contractors, okay? TV contractors are the guy that advertise. I used to call them yellow page contractors. If you're old enough to know what that is, yellow page contractors, TV contractors, those guys spend a grundle of money on advertising. Well, guess who pays for that advertising? You do if you hire them. So I don't want to be working with TV contractors. The other type of contractors there are is contractors that are subcontracting everything out, which means they do none of the work. All they do is get people to come in and do things. They charge an override, and who pays for that? Well, you do. The type of contractor I like is a contractor that is swinging the hammer. A contractor that's on site, maybe has a couple of helpers or a couple of people with him, but he's on site. Those are the type of contractors I believe you get the best price from, because you're not paying for this expensive oversight. You're not paying for expensive TVs, commercials. You're not paying for a sales force to go out there. So those are some things that you need to be thinking about. Number 4, not doing a good enough inspection before you purchase the property. Now, does this mean you need to do a full home inspection? Not necessarily, but somebody needs to be looking at the foundation, looking at the roof, looking at the attic, looking at the plumbing, looking at the electrical, looking at the HVAC systems, and just general looking around for anything else that may be a problem. Now, this could be done by an inspector. This could be done by a general contractor that you actually trust. But the worst thing that could possibly happen is you find out there's more problems with the property that you didn't know about in the beginning. Going eyes wide open and knowing the problems you're going to be dealing with, that will make it a bigger success for you. Okay. Number 5, not having a detailed bid with the general contractor. My experience with general contractors are they hate paperwork, and general contractors hate breaking things down. So typically what happens is you get a back of the napkin that says, I'll do the whole house for $50,000, or a bid like I just got yesterday where there was 5 line items and it was a $30,000 bid. Well, one of the problems with that is, how do I pay them and how do I know that's actually done? So I like to break it down in a line by line item, detailed step by step, so I know exactly what needs to be done and they know exactly what's going to be done. The other thing this helps with is not having these change orders, because the biggest fight you'll have with the contractor is that wasn't included. And if he only has 4 line items, it's really easy for him to say that wasn't included or was included. Now, if we break down every single line item, I'll give you a pro tip. Contractors do not like doing paperwork. I said it before and I'm saying it again. So I recommend that you do all the busy work for this. Ask the contractor, what will this cost? What will this cost? What will this cost? Break it all down in what we call a pricing meeting with a general contractor, and then you can give him the agreements. And it's something that it makes a major difference in you making or losing money. Number 6, a lot of general contractors say, I want half up front and I want half later. Well, I've done this a few times and I've had contractors disappear with a lot of money. Now, of course, I can sue them, and I did, and they came into the court and pleaded that they didn't have any money. We ended up getting a judgment and we've never gotten a penny from them. So, it's been like 15 years, guys. So I don't pay anything up front other than a 10%. So if the job's $50,000, I'll let the contractor have up to $5,000 because that's how much I'm willing to risk. Now, after that, as they're doing draws, the work has to be 100% completed. I don't pay for materials. It has to be permanently installed on the property. And then we do an inspection. And at that point, we'll authorize the draw to go out and for them to get paid for that line item. I like to say, if the faucet is installed but it's leaking, you get 0 until it's permanently installed and in perfect working order. Don't pay general contractors up front. Number 7, not having a services agreement with a general contractor. You see, a general contractor, you want them bound to the project, bound to their prices, and have agreements on how that's going to work out and what's going to happen if they make mistakes, if they're late, if they're not on time. Those are all things that need to be addressed in a services agreement with your general contractor. Now, I'm going to tell you, your general contractor isn't going to come to you and say, hey, we want this services agreement. You've got to be going to them and saying, I want this services agreement. Number 8, not having a timeline for completion and holding contractors accountable. Typically what happens, we say, hey contractor, how long will this take you? Oh, it'll take like 60 days. So then you look at it, looks like it's not making a lot of progress. You're 45 days into this and you're like, how long is it gonna take? Oh, we need another 60 days. That doesn't work. You are paying for very expensive interest, whether you're making a monthly payment or that's part of the loan or it's being accrued. It is very, very expensive, and they have to understand the cost of that. It's not like a homeowner where they live there and their mortgage is just going to be there and they're paying for it anyway because they're living there. This isn't the case. This is accruing, adding, expensive. You need to have a timeline for completion. My recommendation is you break down the timeline on a week-by-week schedule, which basically says this is the entire job. This is what we're going to do every single week, and you keep them accountable to that. Now, does that mean it's going to go perfect? Absolutely not. But what it means is you have a timeline and you can say what got done last week, what's going to get done this week. Are we ahead of schedule? Or are we behind schedule? How can we get back on schedule? This is called project management. I highly recommend it. Number 9, not verifying quality of workmanship. This can be a really big problem, especially if you're investing from out of state or not getting the property enough. Quality of workmanship can make or break your fix and flip. If it's poor quality, you can get yourself having to redo it again, or you can get yourself into a situation where you're going to have to spend a lot more money to make it right or make it look good. And number 10, not renegotiating the price with the seller after you have done your inspections and know some of those rehab costs. Going back to the seller and saying, hey, there's a lot more problems with this property than any of us realize. Take a look. Here's the foundation. Here's this. Here's that. This is what I need to do. This is what I can pay. And anybody else is going to have to pay the same because they're going to find out about these things. And now that you know these things, you're going to have to tell anybody else and disclose these things. Okay? Now, I'll give you a quick bonus one. I've seen people overlook the offer, the first offer they get once they're trying to resell the property, hoping for a better offer or a bigger offer coming down the road. My recommendation is first profit is best profit. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't negotiate. It doesn't mean you shouldn't ask for something. But in the end, the faster you can sell it, the less you're going to pay in hard money costs and the more profit you will get in that way. So if you turn away or you negotiate too hard on an offer and it takes you 2 more months, well, that may cost you several $1,000s more that you would have been better off just taking the lower offer to begin with. So be smart about it and make a conscious decision on how you are going to negotiate. Now, like with anything in life, one of the things I like to say all the time is imperfect action beats perfect inaction every single time. With my Find Fund Flip system, we give you training and support at literally every step of the process. This way, our borrowers rarely fall into common pitfalls that other investors get trapped into. If you're looking for a way to complete a fix and flip deal over and over again, check out my Find Fund Flip system by clicking on the link on this screen. and make it a very profitable day.